Okay, I'm here at the Data Center Transformation event with Steve Hone, who I guess we call the organizer of it, or the co-organizer. I expect Amanda would like some of the credit as well. But in terms of how, we're talking sort of halfway to, so how's the morning session gone so far?
The morning session has been absolutely fantastic. I couldn't be more pleased to be honest. We're at full capacity. It's a 170 seater auditorium, and every single seat's full, which is fantastic. And ironically, there's 142 people on the waiting list that couldn't get in. So next year, what we'll say is obviously try and make sure you're quick enough to get in. We try to make sure that the members get priority, and then we open it up towards the end to non-members to make sure we got across broad section and everybody can value and benefit from the value of the content.
And in terms of the focus of the event, any thoughts as to what the important things are that are being looked at, or you are hoping to get covered during the sessions?
Okay, so there's the obvious subject matter which continues, which is sustainability, energy efficiency, or data utilization. But main focus at the moment is energy security and AI, and those two are very intrinsically linked. And we've had some great presentations today.
And in terms of our someone this morning, and with yourselves as a sort of representing the industry, just your thoughts as to there's a new government here, and the previous one I think had already started making some plans around the data center industry. Are you encouraged, shall we say, from, I know a lot of people are saying it's not been a great sort of 100 odd days for the new folks, but in terms of the data center industry at least, do you think they're making the right noises, shall we say, as to the direction of travel?
Yeah, the first 100 days hasn't been blessed with glory, I have to say, but it is early days. And obviously the latest news of CNI, as data centers now considered as critical national infrastructure. There are commitments from previous government to invest in the infrastructure required to ensure that the UK maintains its digital leader status. I think we need to make sure that the infrastructure is there, and the will and the commitment and the investment from government is there. It's challenging in a 4-year cycle to make those sort of things happen. It's interesting, we spoke about, some of the presentations this morning spoke about the supply chain, and the government and the power infrastructure suffers those same supply chains, and some of the items that they need to increase this infrastructure are on 2 or 3 year back order. So there's only so much we can do that they can do, but let's hope that they actually do deliver on some of the promises that they do make.
And in terms of that future, you've alluded to the power situation. How much of the future do you think is in the industry's own hands? For example, there's a lot of looking at an activity around off-grids where people are getting their own power supply to overcome it. Do you think the industry can sort of solve its own problems, or does it need some engagement from outside stakeholders, if you like?
I think it's a mix, it's a combination. I think with CNI status, we're hoping that the planning regulation, for example, will open up a little bit. But fundamentally, we've been, for so many years now, we've been reliant or enjoyed a very stable, plentiful grid supply. And I think as time goes on, data centers are going to have to, in line with that planning, you may well find that planning for consent for new data centers will only be consented if there are certain tick boxes. Some of those might be around renewables and making sure that any heat that expelled is reused. And some of it may well be about making sure that you've got on-site power generation so that you are not taking power from the grid. So yeah, I think it's going to be playing a far larger part moving forward.
And you mentioned AI at the top of the conversation, and I have to ask, do you think the industry fully understands, if you like, what's going to hit it when the sort of AI ramps up to the sort of predicted levels? Do you think the industry's ready, or has it got to learn quite quickly what's needed, or are they ready for the tsunami, if you like?
Okay, so I think number one, for me personally, it needs to be AI for good, not for the sake of it. I don't particularly need an AI-enabled toothbrush to tell me when the head needs to be changed. But equally, there are a huge number of areas where AI can play a huge part. As to whether we're ready, I don't think we're ready from an infrastructure point of view for the sort of power that's going to be needed to support that infrastructure. Not when you've got competition from EV cars, from heat pumps that are all vying for the same energy, and there's just not enough energy to tick all those boxes. So I think it's going to be challenging. We had a very interesting presentation from Simon Michaud, who's actually a geologist, nothing to do with data centres, who gave us a bit of a wake-up call, I guess, in so much as if you added up all the renewable energy, that's currently available or planned, it's nowhere near enough on a global scale to meet predicted demand. So, there needs to be solutions. It needs to have investment and a focus from the government to meet us halfway, to enable us to be able to achieve those goals and hopefully deliver what we're going to need.
And that leads me on nicely to my favourite question at the moment: sustainability and digital world. Are those two things fundamentally incompatible, or do you think the digital world can carry on expanding as required and be sustainable, or something has to give at some stage?
It has to be work in harmony. At the end of the day, so there was a question that came up in the last session, which was, should we be trying to meet our sustainability goals by actually switching things off rather than switching things on? And it goes back to AI, and whether it's AI for good or AI for just for the sake of it. We need to, all of us from a social point of view, needs to, really think about how we use AI or how we use digital services every single day, and try to all make a small difference, because I think it's going to be a combination.
Okay, it's been fantastic to chat. Thank you very much, Steve, for your time.
Thank you very much, Phil. Thank you.